Okay, now we're going to dive deeply into the second half of the Perfect World solo. And what is important about this, as in just about every solo that I've ever done, it has a key change that is very pivotal in the direction of the solo. And in this case, it's a very basic key change. The first two turnarounds are just a basic E minor chord progression. And then we move up to an A minor chord progression. So it's very easy for the listener to stay involved without being jarred too much. And since this is a very slow and moody piece, I get to really express myself. And once again, I'm going to be doing the repeating thing that I'm talking about so much. Here, let me show you what I'm going to play. Okay, now the chord is A minor all of a sudden. So leading up to this A minor, I do a very traditional scale that just leads up to it so perfectly, like this. Yeah, so you see how my target note was C there, and I just a very natural ascending phrase going into it. Now the chord progression that comes after that is a very traditional, very cliche chord progression, but it's, again, it fits so nicely. Sometimes you can just go with the cliches, you know what I mean? It works because it allows you to do more expressive stuff on the solo on top of it. So the chord progression that comes after this is A minor with G in the bass, A minor with F sharp in the bass, and then a B7 flat 6 as the last chord. So I'm going to follow that, but I want to follow my golden rule of doing repeating. So watch how I repeat with this target note that I had a second ago of the C. So if you can play the chord progression again, then you'll see how I do my repeating over these chords that I just showed you. So doing the target note on every one of those chords just felt so good. You know, if you just kind of play a bunch of random scales and licks over that, you're kind of wasting an opportunity to give the listener something to grab on. So let's play that again a little bit slower and watch how the target note is the same every time, but before and after the target note, I do little different things that shows that, okay, I know the target note's here, and I'm going to express it a little bit different every time to give it a little bit more tension each time. Let's play it again a little bit slower so you get exactly what I'm talking about. So, of course, this kind of line allows you to have freedom, especially in the trill department, because I'm doing these trills. You can either make them ornate and busy or kind of lay back and not do so much. So an option for this type of phrase would be something like just where you hold the note out and where you end the note and start the note and how busy the trills are. It's really a personal taste. Too many trills can be annoying for some people. Too many trills can be ecstatic for some people. It's kind of your choice. And then the run that I wind up playing on the final chord, the B chord, this is also something that could have a lot of options. And to be honest with you, I probably play it different every single time I play this, because it's so fun to know that you have a target note, and there's really a lot of things you can do to get to it. I know that I want to do some kind of chromatic thing getting to it. So I'll show you what basically I'm thinking about, and then I'll show you different ways to phrase that type of thing. So E flat over B is a really nice note to shoot for, especially since we've been playing in this A minor progression. A minor, G with A minor, F sharp with A minor, and then B. So this is a fresh note. Why is it a fresh note? Because it doesn't really fit so well over the A minor chords that happened before it. See what I'm saying? The only note it really sounded pleasant on was that final B chord. So I made sure to really bring out the one chance to use that previously dissonant note over that B chord. So that's what kind of makes this one turnaround phrase work for me. So getting to that E flat, I did something like this. Any kind of chromatic thing works nicely for that. Depends on how much time you have to play. But you could do it really slowly and simply. Or something more busy. Or something kind of staggered. Those are the kind of options that you want to consider whenever you're like in the middle of a solo and you want to build up to an important note that way. Usually, you know, it's completely stream of conscious the way I'm playing it, and I kind of tend to want to go for something that's smooth. All right? So that's that one little section. Let's play that whole section from that A minor just to recap exactly everything that I talked about. So. So that's how that goes. Now again, on the next phrase, I'm going to go back into one of my old standbys, repeating. So over the next chord, which is E minor, I did this thing twice. Now those of you who have watched the previous segment would remember that is the beginning of this solo. Which happens to be the melody of the chorus. So I'm never forgetting what song I'm in while I'm playing this solo. I'm referencing the chorus again here. But before I reference the chorus, I do this repeating thing. But this time I just let that G sustain like really regally and royally, because now I've got one note and it's like a trumpet playing this one long note. So it's a reference to the beginning of the solo, and it's also a reference to the chorus. So what do you get from me telling you this? The more you have invested in the song, the more you know the melodies of the song, those are going to really help shape the way you play a solo in that song, whether you choose to ignore those things and do something different, or choose to mimic those things, or choose to play something that kind of refers to those things or answers those things. Anyway, that's all information that should be inputted into your mind when you're making these choices, all right? And so we'll finish the solo after this, so it goes. And lo and behold, there's one more repeating lick coming up over the C chord. So this is like one of my kind of blues licks here, and not like, if you listen to my playing and you listen to my kind of blues phrases, they're a little bit different than the ones that you hear all the time because I like to do things that are a little different, as you should. But I play this. So doing that twice drives it home. It's like, okay, it's another thing that he knows what he does and he's choosing to play it twice. And I think really good bluesy guys have a good sense of repetition and how many times they feel like repeating a phrase. I mean, if you listen to the great blues players, they're always repeating. They have a good sense of repetition, and repetition comes very natural to good blues players. And so I probably got that as a kid because I listened to a lot of guys who are playing aggressive blues guitar. And the repeating, whenever they did a repeating note, repeating phrase, sometimes it would just give you chills. So repeating is a big part of my soloing, even though if you listen to the whole solo down, you don't really think he's repeating, but there's a lot of things that are happening more than once. So over this C chord, I'm going. And resolving on the B major. Now, of course, over this C chord, you could do a million things. Because it's kind of like I'm in the E box here, but E has so many things in common with C that it'd be hard to kind of mess that up. But instead of, you could go into a completely different range. You see what I'm saying? Like the target note is F sharp. So I just went into one of my favorite little blues cliches. And also like going down like this is it's kind of got a classical major scale type of feeling that's really tying up the whole solo, but you may want to do something different. Any other thing would work for any other person. So I wound up here, and then I did something that really ends the solo strong. Again, to me, that sounds like trumpets, like at Buckingham Palace or something like that. So it's like, what's the strongest way to end is on the root note of the final chord. I mean, that really, on the highest position, is really kind of sending it home.